impossible. I know what you deserve. Exterminate. Why? You never did. Dalek, written by Robert Sherman, and is of course episode 6 of series 1 of Doctor Who. Now Dalek tells the story of the Doctor and Rose landing in the Henry Van Statten's Alien Museum in Utah in 2012, and they discover that this museum is more than what it seems, as the Doctor realises the museum is holding his greatest enemy, the Dalek, the last Dalek in the universe, and the Doctor immediately sees the Dalek as a threat because of what the Dalek has done to his people and in the Time War and the universe, so he immediately wants the Dalek destroyed. But Rose, on the other hand, has never met the Daleks before. She has no idea how dangerous they are, so she's the only one who shows the Dalek kindness and compassion, and her actions lead to catastrophic consequences. This story has been widely acclaimed by many Who fans to be one of the best stories, not just of series 1 but of the revived series as a whole, and I have to say it's not hard to see why. This story is magnificent. It is absolutely perfect and flawless in every way. I'm glad this was the first episode of Series 1 that introduced us to the Daleks. I'm glad they just didn't just throw the Daleks in the very first episode. I'm glad they saved them for a bit later to keep the suspense of when are we going to see the Daleks. And this episode just brought the Daleks back to the 21st century and introduced us to 21st century Who fans in the best way possible. It really did. And this episode, of course, written by Robert Sherman, who is proven to be a genius writer. If he can write stuff like this, give him more scripts, BBC. Give him more Doctor Who stories to write and more Dalek stories to write. He deserves it. Now, the Daleks were, of course, created by one of the producers of Doctor Who during its early days, and they appeared in the second episode of the classic series back in 1963 and were a phenomenal hit and have been the favourite antagonists of Doctor Who ever since, and I can gladly say they're my favourite too, easily, without question. They are such three-dimensional villains. They were, of course, created by Davros, the last Khaled in existence, and the Doctor's greatest enemy, and they were created by him as his desire to just conquer the universe and wipe out anything that isn't Dalek. That's their only purpose and motivation in life. They are the space Nazis. Well, they were based on the Nazis too, and they just they look like a tank. They look unstoppable and are virtually unstoppable. Their Dalekanium armor is near impossible to penetrate. Their eye stalk can see through anything. Their Dalek death ray can kill literally anything. Their sucker arm can literally suck your brain out, and they have the best voice ever. And this Dalek design is a great improvement over the design from the classic series. While they were all sorts of different colours back in the classic series, they even had some cool designs like the special weapons Dalek. They did look a little silly at times. You just couldn't take them as seriously as you wanted to, but this Dalek, however, is full on intimidating, looks armed to the teeth, and will not take shit from anyone. It is an unstoppable killing machine and with no emotions. And the scene with the Doctor and the Dalek is just brilliant. Christopher Eccleston, this is one of his best performances in his entirety as the Doctor. Thankfully, he has less comedic moments this time and full-on drama, which is what his Doctor is best suited for, and he delivers. He has a great connection with this Dalek because the Daleks wiped out the Time Lords and Gallifrey back in the Time War, as the Time Lords did the same to the Daleks and Skaro. So it's two enemies meeting together, and uh, and they're practically the same. They've both lost, and the Dalek sees them as equal, but the Doctor does not want anything to do with this Dalek. He doesn't. The Dalek is the only creature in the universe that he doesn't feel any sympathy for whatsoever. And when he just tortures the Daleks, and the Dalek's begging for mercy, but the Doctor just is like, "You never showed me mercy," and just wants the Dalek all round destroyed. But Rose, on the other hand, she actually feels compassion for the Dalek because she's never met them before. This is her first time, and the Doctor keeps telling her Daleks are dangerous, do not trust them, but she just refuses to listen because she doesn't see why this poor creature's being tortured and being so unfairly judged. And while she does have good intentions, her heart's in the right place. So sadly, her actions lead to the Dalek gaining its full power and wiping out almost everybody in the museum. And this demonstrates, the killing montage brilliantly demonstrates how formidable this Dalek really is. It's Dalekanium can literally melt bullets in a matter of seconds, and he can calculate a million cubicles in seconds to open any security breach door, and even the stairs are not safe. They thought they could just run up the stairs and escape it, but the Dalek apparently can levitate and fly. This was the first episode that actually showed that and made you go, oh shit, even that's not a weakness anymore. How do we stop this thing? And the Dalek even just takes out an entire room of soldiers by electrocuting the water and just electrocuting them all. That was just absolutely brutal. This thing showed this thing that we were supposed to care for originally, that had been tortured. Now we see why the Doctor hates it. So this episode does a brilliant job of showing us why the Dalek is dangerous instead of telling us. And watch closely, as this is one of the Ninth Doctor's best moments and the best scene in the episode.
The Daleks have failed! Why don't you finish the job and make the Daleks extinct? Rid the universe of your filth! Why don't you just die? You would make a good Dalek.
Oh my god. Just no words to describe how awesome that scene is. That is one of the best Doctor Who scenes just ever. Just give that scene a fucking award. Just give Robert Sherman 2 thumbs up. Just give him a big round of applause, because the Doctor literally there, even though he was doing the right thing, wanting the Daleks destroyed to save the universe for the greater good, the Dalek just pointed out that he himself was turning into a Dalek. Oh my gosh. This episode brilliantly does that. It brilliantly touches on what makes a Dalek, and can the Daleks really ever be good? Can they really be evil forever? Can they be changed? Regarding the supporting cast of the episode, Henry Van Statten, owner of the museum, oh, he's a dick. He's just horrible. Oh, you hate the guy. He actually makes you sympathise with the Dalek because he tortures this lone Dalek who's looking for a purpose. So without any remorse, he's just keeping this Dalek for money. Money is literally all he cares about. He treats his staff like shit. He treats the Doctor and Rose like shit. Let alone the Dalek, like complete shit. So when the Dalek does try to kill Van Statten, you feel the Dalek's pain and anger, but Rose did the right thing, pleading the Dalek to spare Van Statten, as Van Statten at least gets his comeuppance in the end by getting sent to jail. And Van Statten's assistant, not many people mention her, but she was good. She was his voice of reason, and she should have been the head of this museum, because she cared about the safety of everyone and lives. Whereas he didn't. And Adam, of course, who joins the Doctor and Rose in the long game, he's okay, but he's really not. Does he really need to be in this episode or in the long game? Not really. I mean, the only reason for him being there is to become a potential love interest for Rose, which, whether that led anywhere is another story, but he really is a little pointless. And the fact that this episode is just one Dalek, being the introduction to the Daleks for the revived series as opposed to a whole army, makes this Dalek all the more threatening, because it shows that just one Dalek, it only takes one to wipe out an entire army, and Stephen Moffat just doesn't get that. And no matter how many times the Doctor defeats the Daleks, if one survives, then the Daleks still exist. If one survives, then you haven't gotten written of any of them, because that one Dalek will always find a way to rebuild the Daleks and return with a diabolical plan. And let's talk about the voice of the Dalek for a second. Nicholas Briggs voices the Daleks in the revived series, and he's nothing short of epic. His voice is so commanding, powerful, original, and it's the most memorable Doctor Who antagonist voice ever. I mean, for the big Supreme Daleks, he has a very deep, booming voice. Or for the "Let us squeaky Dalek soldiers," they're all brilliant. I love both kinds of Daleks, and kudos to Nicholas Briggs. He is the Daleks, and the ending of this episode is so powerful. It goes that deep. It really makes you think. When the Doctor's about to just brutally murder the Dalek, but Rose stops him because she's like, "Doctor, what the hell are you changing into?" And she does have a point. The Doctor, by destroying the Daleks, is literally doing what they're doing, exterminating and becoming like them. And of course, the Dalek can actually spares Rose because she showed him kindness and gave him that power. So that proves that this Dalek actually is different and does have a heart. Well, the Daleks, they would be better if Davros hadn't have removed all their emotions, and Rose proved that. But sadly, because the Dalek is showing kindness and questioning its morality, it's getting sick. Any kindness is not good for a Dalek, as the Doctor explains, and the Dalek, you feel sorry for the Dalek at this point. It's devastating when the Dalek asks Rose to self-destruct it, and when the Dalek ultimately commits suicide. It's devastating. Whoever thought you actually felt sorry for a monster that just murdered an entire army of innocents, and you're actually crying for it. That is incredibly powerful writing and characterization, which what makes the Daleks the best Doctor Who antagonists. It is truly brilliant. It is nothing short of outstanding and a complete masterpiece. It is my second favourite story of Series 1. My absolute favourite is a review for another day, but this story delivers everything. It has such a compelling story for Doctor Who. It throws away all the campiness and silliness and goes that deep, and brilliantly sets up the relationship between the Doctor and the Daleks, brilliantly introduces Rose to the Daleks, who will become her greatest enemy too, and it has some very dark scenes, like the Dalek torture scenes, the Dalek just killing every living thing in its path, and the ending, which includes suicide. Yeah, this episode, it's really thought-provoking for kids and adults alike. The Daleks are brilliantly brought to life. This was the perfect episode to introduce the Daleks. It does the impossible and make you have a change of heart and feel for the Daleks. It contains some of the Ninth Doctor's best moments and some of Rose Tyler's best moments. It's Robert Sherman's best writing and will be remembered as a Who classic. I give Dalek 5 stars out of 5. Near perfect episode. My only little nitpick was Adam was pointless, but he did not spoil my enjoyment whatsoever. And this is my Dalek action figure, by the way. I got him for my birthday. I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. And what did you think of Dalek? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Google+. And I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.